I am going to talk a little tight ends, some tight ends here with you now, and some sleepers, some breakouts, and potentially some busts, right? Yeah, why not? Just some potential busts here. And big names, Darren Waller, TJ Hawkinson. Honestly, tried to pick a top 5 tight end that could bust, and I could see Darren Waller busting. Some injuries last year. I actually thought that the Raiders potentially could trade him. I thought that they could move on from him, maybe get something in return. Who knows? It looks like he's going to be part of the squad for sure as we get closer to the season. But adding Devontae Adams, who's going to be a target hog, and having Hunter Renfrow inside this offense, I'm a little concerned with the targets and the volume here. And I've said this before, and I don't want it to fully. Whatever, you can call me crazy all you want. I think that this, offense with Josh McDaniels could run very similar to how it ran in New England, right? And I've said this before a couple times. If we view Devontae Adams as Randy Moss and Hunter Renfrow as Wes Welker, and they didn't really have a elite tight end on the squad then for those years in New England. I think it was before really Gronk, exploded, and I just feel like it's tough to really project Darren Waller as a top 3 tight end for where he's going, top 3, top 4. I just don't think he's going to return value. And I think there's a lot of moving pieces in Detroit as well with TJ Hawkinson. I really like Hawkinson. He came on strong last season, and then he kind of cooled off. There's been some injuries over the last couple seasons that have been an issue for him. But I just feel like in that range, I think I'm okay with maybe Dallas Goedert. There's a lot going on there as well. But for Goddard and Hawkinson, I think Knox is okay. I think I'm just waiting it out a little bit more for a Cole Kmet, for an Irv Smith. We just heard Jim Sonis give some good reasons on Irv Smith, and man, he's falling down draft boards right now due to the thumb injury. There's been some injuries with him over the past couple of seasons. When they moved on from Conklin, you thought we would see. Certainly, I thought it would see the spike with Irv Smith. It's just been moments, but Kevin O'Connell coming over in a pass-happy offense more so than we've seen in years past. I think Irv Smith could break out, and I know this is a trendy breakout trio, right, with Albert O in there as well. But the fact that Tim Patrick went down, Albert O could be a red zone target. I expect him to be. No Noah Fant on this squad now. A real breakout candidate here for Albert O. And don't ask me to pronounce his last name because I just can't do it. I think I can, but I'm not going to try. Bats. But for Albert O, is it going to be a mismatch, right? He's just a big body. There seems to be a rapport already with Russell Wilson. He's known to utilize some of his tight ends, from Seattle, and didn't have a lot of great ones. Of course, Jimmy Graham was a great one, but, Will Dissly, and you see Gerald Everett there on the right, who had a decent season last year at times with Russell Wilson. I think Gerald Everett is an upgrade over Jared Cook. Jared Cook was getting roughly drafted around tight end 20, which is where Gerald Everett is going. I think that's an upgrade. I think he's a better tight end. I think he's got better hands. I think he's a better red zone target. I think if you wait it out at the tight end position, or you roll with 2 tight ends, tight end premium, you could have Gerald Everett as your second tight end. And I think that's a fine target there. Dalton Schultz, I think, is just completely undervalued. How could it be undervalued going as tight end 6 or 7? Because I have him ranked as a top 4 tight end. I am really thinking about him, in almost all of my drafts at around round 6 or 7. I love Pitts. I love Andrews. I don't think Kelsey is worth the pick in the first, because in years past, there was a gap between Kelsey and everybody else, and Andrews finishes tight end 1, and they don't really have anything else going on in Baltimore like Bateman. But after that, there's just a lot of concerns. And in fact, all of their wide receivers in Baltimore have already suffered injuries. I think Bateman was sidelined for a couple weeks, and Duvernay's gone through some things. And my goodness, like Andrews is in line for maybe another close to 1,400 yards and a lot of targets, and especially inside the end zone. He was top 5 in end zone targets last year. So I just feel like the gap is not as significant. So Andrews and Pitts, I think Kittle, I'm passing on. Waller, I'm passing on. I would expect Everett to actually Schultz have better seasons than those guys. You got Hayden Hurst linked to the Cincy offense. He's probably only a guy that you draft in tight end premium or 2 tight end leagues. You want a 3rd tight end, you can roll him out there. Njoku, not a lot of competition there. I like Njoku. They finally moved on from Hooper. I know Harrison Bryant's on the squad. A lot of question marks with Devontae Peoples-Jones and David Bell, who I do like the prospect of him. But after that, Njoku and Cooper, these are guys that I expect to have well over a 20% target share. Brevin Jordan, same sort of deal, right? Only battling with Brandon Cooks. I think he is I have a lot of shares of him already in best ball. I have him ranked as a top 20 tight end. He's going around tight end 25, 26. He came on strong. Really only saw a handful of games from him, but towards the end of the season, we started to see him as a decent tight end. They also got Likey on the squad, Likey as well, who could be interesting. And then Robert Tanyan, a couple years removed from having a really, really strong season. And again, not a lot going on there in Green Bay. Clearly has the trust of Aaron Rodgers. Could be a red zone threat for Mr. Rodgers. We are going to break Gesicki. There's some reports that he's going to block a lot. I don't think Tua is going to be a guy that drops back a ton, and there's already two strong wide receivers on that squad. So I think Gesicki in around tight end 13 is a major bust. I would avoid him.